Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon.
And use the hashtag #SDSRLectures to get to my videos from anywhere. So, we will begin with Act 3, Scene 2 of The Merchant of Venice today, primarily with the Class 10 batch in mind. I have done Act 1, Scene 1 from The Merchant of Venice. That was primarily for the Class 9 students. Now this is for Class 10, so that we can go forward with the syllabus together for both of these classes. Now, Act 3, Scene 2 is a very important scene, and it is one of the most lengthiest of scenes in the whole play. And the reason for it being lengthy is innumerable. But one of the aspects that why Shakespeare made it a point that this scene was so very long was because it kind of acts as that midpoint in the whole drama. This is where the action, the sequence eventually rises towards a climax, because from the very beginning we get to know Antonio, we get to know Bassanio, we get to know Portia, and the fact that Bassanio is looking to win Portia over by going to Belmont and trying his luck. So all that angst, anxiety, and those questions cropping up in the audience's minds are finally answered in this scene. But what is important to note is this is not the end. This is just the middle. The end is way later. It's yet to come. And after having those unsuccessful attempts, unsuccessful trials by, first you have Morocco, then you have Aragon. Now this is the third suitor that the audiences see visually with their own eyes on stage. Till here they have only heard of suitors coming and going, especially in Act 1, Scene 2, in the conversation, the dialogues that Portia and Nerissa share with each other. We get to know of the 6 suitors who had come. So after having seen Morocco and Aragon come and then make the choice of casket and then lose out on Portia, now the audiences, the Elizabethan audience, who eagerly want Portia to be won by none other but Bassanio, they are finally now to the edge of their seats and waiting for the scene to actually unravel, and the protagonist, the hero and the heroine, if I can call them, to finally unite. That is their anticipation, the expectation, and that is aroused slowly in the scene, which is why it has been made that long. So as an audience, you want it to take place, you want it to happen as fast as possible, but then Shakespeare draws it out, he elongates it, lengthens it, so that eventually when it does come, when both Bassanio does win Portia over, it's like, it's quite a feeling. Having said that, let us now go straight into the scene without wasting much time. Act 3, Scene 2. The scene takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. Enter Bassanio, Portia, Gratiano, Nerissa, and attendants. Now, Portia speaks first. He says, "I pray you, tarry. I pray you, I plead with you." Tarry means to wait. Wait for some time. I request you to wait. Pause a day or two before you hazard. Wait for a day or two before you take the risk. Hazard here is the risk. What is the risk? The risk is the risk of making the choice of casket. Because if you lose, if you make a wrong choice, you don't have an option to correct it, to revisit the choice. It's gone forever. So it is a risk, it is a hazard. So Portia asks Bassanio to wait for a few days, wait for a day or two before you make your choice. For, she says, in choosing wrong, I lose your company. If you choose wrongly, then I will lose your company forever. And I don't want that to happen, she says. Therefore, forbear a while. Forbear here means to wait. Therefore, please, Bassanio, wait for some more time, so that you can evaluate, analyze, and judge for yourself that whether or not you are ready to make the choice of caskets. Portia shows in these lines the vulnerability, at the same time the wish, the desire to be won by none other than Bassanio, the suitor whom maybe she loves very, very dearly. We'll come to know all that in the next few lines of the scene. She says, there's something that tells me, but it is not love. It said, there is something, though it is not love, which tells me that I would not lose you. That I would not lose you. I don't know what, I don't know why, but something, and it is not love, that tells me that I will not lose you. And you know yourself, hate counsels not in such a quality. It says, you know hatred would not give such an advice. So she is gearing up to making Bassanio realize the importance of this moment and maybe convince him that it is better for him to wait for a day or two than to rashly, abruptly make a choice of caskets and then lose out on Portia forever. But lest you should not understand me well, and yet a maiden hath no tongue but thought. Okay, but lest you should not understand me well. Now, she is trying to say, but in case if you have not understood me well, if you have not understood my point of view, the thing that I am trying to tell you, then there is a dash. There is another moment where she says, and yet a maiden hath no tongue but thought. She's talking about herself. And yet a maiden like her, a young woman like her, has no voice, has no opinion, but she can only think. She is replicating the vulnerability, the insecurity that she has suffered through the course of the choice of caskets, where she has no opinion, she has no say in any of the suitor's choice. All that she can do is wait and wait and wait for a suitor to come and win her over. A maiden, back in those days, Elizabethan England, they did not have any choice, any voice, any opinions. That is highlighted here. It says, I but thought I would detain you here for some month or two, but then if I had the voice, I would have definitely kept you, detained you for a month or two. Underline, important, for a month or two before you venture for me, before you go and make the choice of caskets for me, to see that whether or not you win me over. I would detain you if I had the powers, the voice, for a month or two. I could teach you, very important. Why would I detain you for a month or two? Because my intention would be to teach you how to choose right. You may, in all the you can say abruptness, you may go and choose wrongly, and I don't want that to happen, which is why I want you to teach you in that 1 or 2 months that I am seeking from you how to choose right. But then I am forsworn. I am forsworn. Forsworn here means I have already taken an oath. I cannot retract on it or change it. I am forsworn to it. So I'll never be able to do it. So may you miss me. So may you miss me here means so you may lose me. If you choose wrongly, there can be nothing that I can do then. She says, but if you do, you'll make me wish a sin that I had been forsown. It says, if you do, you will make me wish a sin that I had broken my oath. Once you lose me, if it so happens, then you would wish me that it would be better if Portia had broken her oath and coached me, taught me how to choose the right casket. All these lines, it's like a long speech, beginning the opening speech in the scene, and it shows the panic, the eagerness, and in somewhere a desperation that Portia is suffering from. Why? Because she is not able to endure anymore of the thought that Bassanio could end up choosing wrongly and lose her forever. That is creating this whole dilemma and this duality in her head. So She says, beshrew your eyes. Beshrew your eyes here means confound your eyes. Beshrew means it's a curse. It'll be a curse on your eyes that they have overlooked me and divided me. That they have overlooked me. Overlooked here means bewitched me and they have divided me. She is confused. She is not able to understand what she is wanting to do. She is now cursing those eyes, saying that you have bewitched me, overlooked me. One half of me is yours, she says. One half of me is yours, the other half is also yours. She says she wants to show to Bassanio that I am yours through and through, fully. I'm all yours. Mine own, I would say, but if mine, then yours. And therefore, I am all yours, and so all yours. In all totality, I belong to you. There is no hindrance, there is no doubt, there is no fragments. I am yours, Bassanio. Shows the unflinching love that Portia shares for Bassanio. And no matter what, she wants Bassanio to win her over at any cost, anyhow. Then she says, oh, these terrible times, oh, these naughty times. Naughty here means terrible, bad times, times where it is dividing her. It is not allowing her to cope with all this desperation that she is going through. The thought of her losing out on Bassanio, on being divided from being united. All that is the naughty, terrible times, according to Portia. She says, oh, these naughty times puts bars between the owners and their rights. It's like as if the owner here is Bassanio and Portia is his right, and there is this time, the situation, the whole ambience, the lottery of caskets that has divided them, that has put bars in between them. It says, and so though yours, not yours, although I am yours, although you have all the right to own me, to possess me, yet these bars separate you from me. She says, although it is yours, it's not yours. Prove it so, let fortune go to hell for it, nor I speak too long. She admits that I'm speaking way too much. When do people speak so much? When they are anxious, when they are agitated, when they are a little, you can say, vulnerable and not in the right state of mind. They don't know how to go about things. They are not calm. So they are speaking, and she is at this point speaking way too much, and she admits, saying, oh, I speak too long, but to buys the time. I'm here trying to lengthen the time, to prolong the time. So that to ek here means to add to it. Whatever time I have, I want to add more to it. Why? Because I want that time to somehow get into things and speak about things to you so that you understand better about how and where you can go wrong and how you should go and choose your right casket. She wants to do everything possible for her to help Bassanio choose the right casket. That is what Portia says. To ek it, to add to it, and to draw it out in length. I want to elongate it, lengthen the time that I have to stay you from election. To stay you means to prevent you, to stop you from election. Election here is the choice of caskets. That is why I am speaking so long, I am speaking so much. Because I don't want you to go and just choose the casket and then choose wrong. I want you to judge. I want you to wait. I want you to think, she says. Bassanio says, let me choose. So he has been there on stage, stagnant and quiet, listening to all that Portia had to say, to which now he responds, saying, let me choose. For as I am, I live upon the rack. As soon as Bassanio says, I live upon the rack. Now, you have to understand what rack is. Rack here means it's an instrument of torture where the prisoners and the victims are kept on those structure of say bars or some rails where they are tortured generally tortured and beaten up, so that if they have done some wrong, if they are criminals, they can be, tortured and made to speak up, made to blurt out truth. That is what rack is. And Bassanio compares his situation to that being of like a prisoner on a rack. It's so difficult for him. He wants to portray, but as soon as Bassanio speaks and he talks about rack, Portia is livid, is irritated. She reacts instantly. She says, "Upon the rack, Bassanio? Then confess what treason there is mingled with your love. You say it's upon the rack, Bassanio? Upon torture? Then confess what disloyalty is mixed with your love, because there must be something wrong with your love. Otherwise, you would not have said that you are upon the rack if you really loved honestly." That is what Portia wants to mean. And Bassanio says, none but that ugly treason of mistrust. Now, he says, none but the ugly feeling of doubt. Mistrust here means doubt, which makes me fear the enjoying of my love, which makes me fear that I may not get my love, I may not win you, I may not be able to succeed, I may be a failure like the suitors before me. That is making me endure or suffer and bear, not being able to bear, rather, the torture. He says, there may as well be amity and life between snow and fire as treason and my love. Here says, there might be as well amity and life. Amity here means friendship, and life here means blooming of friendship and love. There might as well be life, friendship and life. There might as well be amity and life between snow and fire. Between snow and fire, there may be friendship and love, which is impossible. Snow always melts when it comes near fire, but there may be friendship and life between them as well, as treason and my love. And if there is disloyalty, he says, if there is disloyalty between my love for you, if I am disloyal, then may there be friendship between snow and fire, which can never happen, which is what she is trying to prove, that he is not disloyal in any which way, because a fire can never ever be a friend with snow. That is what he wants to say, he wants to mean, to justify his opinion about him being comparing his you can say his time at this present moment to be like living upon the rack. To which Portia responds. She says, but I fear you speak upon the rack. I fear you speak under torture, because it is often found out that people who are tortured, criminals and dacoits, robbers who are tortured in terms of trying to extract the truth from them, just because they are tortured so much, they tend to just speak out, blurt out anything and everything that the others want to hear. So Portia makes a little sarcastic kind of a remark where she says, you may be speaking upon the rack, where men enforced do speak anything, where men, if they are enforced, can just go about speaking anything that they feel like. Bassanio says, promise me life and I'll confess the truth. He says, if you promise to let me live, I will tell you the truth. Well then, confess and live. This is like a criminal, seeking that life, saying, I will tell you the truth if you forgive me, if you plead and pardon my life. He says, confess and live. Bassanio says, confess and love, which should have been confess and love, my dear, because there is nothing except love between you and me. That is what he wants to mean. Had been the very sum of my confession, to confess and to love was the very thing that my confession would be all about. It had nothing to do with anything else other than love. He means, oh happy torment, oh happy torture. He means, when my torturer though teach me answers for deliverance, when my torturer teaches me the answers that would save me, it's such a happy torture. He says, but let me to my fortunes and the caskets. Fine, it's enough. Let me now go to the fortunes, to my fortune, and see what I have. Take me to the caskets. He says, then curtain drawn from the caskets. Now, again, till here, it has a visual appeal. Till you see the casket as an audience, it does not trigger, it does not arouse that sense of curiosity, that sense of, animatedness. It's like it's there, fine, it'll take place. Once the curtains are kind of removed, drawn out, then you know this is the moment, now is the time. All that anxiety and panic, it just touches the sky. It just reaches a height that it has never reached before. So now, curtains drawn from before the caskets. Portia says, away then, I am locked in one of them. Very important. What she means to say is, one of her picture, one of her portrait is there inside one of those caskets, but she insists on saying, I am locked in that casket, in one of those caskets. The dual meaning is, maybe she wants to say that until and unless someone makes a choice, I am not free. I am there enclosed inside the casket. And she is pleading with Bassanio that please make the right choice and free me, because I want to come out of that enclosure and embrace you and be with you for life. So I'm locked in one of them. If you do love me, you will find me out. Nerissa and the rest stand all aloof. Just go away from here. Go farther away. Stand all aloof, aside. It says, let music sound while he doth make his choice. While he is making his choice, let there be music. She says, then if he lose, he makes a swan-like end. If he loses, then that music will make it an ambience where it will be like the end of a swan. And the reference here is that the Elizabethans believed that the swan, which has no voice at all in reality, but the swans sings just once, that is just before its death. That was the belief of the Elizabethans back then, and Shakespeare uses that belief and he puts it into Portia's mouth, where she says, if Bassanio loses, it will be like a swan-like end. There will be music and there will be song one final time before that collapse. And she says, fading in music, that the comparison may stand more proper, my eye shall be the stream and watery deathbed for him. The swan generally is there on a stream, on a watery bed. So if Bassanio loses, if Bassanio is not successful in making his choice of caskets, then the music will make it a swan-like end for him, and my water from my eyes will pour out water, tears, and it will fill up the bed, the deathbed of Bassanio, and which is why it says it is a watery deathbed for him. So direct comparison between the swan's death, swan's end, and the end of Bassanio. Right? He may win. Now this is if he loses, but then there is a probability of him winning too. So he says, if he may win, and what is music then? What can music then be of any use if he wins? She says, the music then is even as the flourish when true subjects bow to a new crowned monarch. A monarch is a king. When a new monarch, a new king is there crowned, all the subjects, the people who are inferior, who are lesser to the king, they all bow down their head in respect to the new crowned monarch, and then there is music there. So this is what it will serve if Bassanio wins. Such it is as those dulcet sounds in break of day that creep into the dreaming bridegroom's ear. Important. It says dulcet sounds. Dulcet are sweet sounding sounds which crop in and which creep inside the bridegroom's ears, calling him for marriage. Kind of symbolic of the better days to come, the days of union, the days of amity and friendship and love. Summon him to marriage, awaken and summon him to marriage. Now he says, now he goes with no less presence but with much more love. Here Bassanio goes with as handsome an appearance but with much more love than even whom? Than young Alcides, than young Hercules. Alcides is another name for Hercules. When he did redeem, save the virgin tribute paid, when he did redeem the virgin tribute paid by howling Troy to the sea monster. Now, the reference here is that the young Hercules, he had gone and rescued the virgin from the wailing people of Troy who had offered her to the sea monster. Like Hercules going and rescuing the Trojan princess from the sea monster, here, now once the marriage is being summoned, Bassanio would then go and seek Portia, who is like the Trojan princess who has been offered to the sea monster. She compares her situation to that to the Trojan princess's plight, which is why she says, I stand for sacrifice. I am here like the virgin standing for sacrifice. The rest aloof are the Dardanian wives, the Trojan women who were there standing helplessly and crying. Which is why it says, with bleared visages come forth to view the issue of the exploit. Bleared visages are tear-stained faces. Faces where you have stains of tears because they have howled, that they've cried so much. Come forth to view the issue of, they have come forth, they are now seeing what is now the consequence, the result of the exploit, whether or not the sacrifice is complete. Go Hercules, he says, go Bassanio, go Hercules, live thou, I live, if you live, I live with you. If you can save the princess, you can save me too. So you living, you conquering the sea monster would be you living, and when you live, I live with you. With much more dismay I view the fight than thou that makest the fray. Means I watch the test with much more fear than you who are actually going to go and fight. So instead of me being less fearful than you, I know you are going to fight, but I am much more afraid than you are, because it is I who is going to lose out on everything. Fray here means fight.